It's Thursday once again. Let's take a look at some legacy charts, some interesting developments over the past week. Things looking more and more problematic for crypto in a few ways. I hope I'm wrong. I haven't been wrong so far about the DXY. We'll take a look at that. Gold and silver also having a nice bump up over the past few days. Starting off with the VIX, the volatility index. Historically, if this is declining, we are bullish in crypto land. If we are below 20, we are bullish in crypto land. Currently, we are flirting with a breakout on the VIX to the upside. Now, if we see VIX rising, DXY rising, gold and silver rising, equities falling, rates rising, these are all bad things for crypto. Hopefully, we can hold off until Q1 when everybody's on the same page and we can all be bearish together. And then we can have plenty of salmon in the river, slaughtering all the bulls, whatever. But what we don't want, what I don't want, is bearish conditions in a bullish market. That muddies the waters. Ideally, everything stays down in the risk-off environment. We want risk-on conditions right now throughout the remainder of the year. So DXY correlation with BTC here, 30-day rolling is, or 30-week, excuse me, is rising, which is a bit strange. Historically, you could argue there's no massive mega correlations here, but since 2017, we have been mainly negative against DXY, mainly positive against SPX and NDX. We're rising on those correlations as well. Gold correlation is rising. The weird thing isn't crypto doing well in this seemingly risk-off environment. The weird thing is DXY, gold, silver, SPX, NDX, risk on, risk off, doesn't matter, all rising together. Very strange. Now the 10-year note and the Nikkei are both losing correlations with crypto and are diverging from everything else seemingly. Nothing really makes sense. Inflation's the highest it's ever been in 30 years. Highest it's been in the past 30 years in the United States. Yet the DXY, which is an index mainly against the euro, continues to rise. I don't know what to think. We're in topsy-turvy land. But at some point, it's going to be problematic, and you're going to see risk-off conditions emerge, I think, in a greater way. And it's sad that I'm right about this. I didn't want to be right about this, but we are cruising through the cloud here. Very likely going to hit 96 plus, which to me is not bullish for crypto. Look at backtesting. Look at any correlations you want on that. When the DXY is bullish, it is tougher for crypto to do its crypto thing. Now, can this time be different? Sure. But we do not want this thing crushing 100 again, cruising through 105. We don't want any of that. This needs to stay flat or down, ideally at least until January. After January, I don't care. From January to April 1st, let this thing go to 200. I don't care. Let crypto be bearish. But in the moment right now, we need this thing to chill out, stay flat. We need more bad news for the dollar, for the DXY, in order to stay supremely bullish on BTC. Gold popping up here last week, I was mentioning this inverted head and shoulders, triple bottom fractal. That's slowly playing out. You saw it on the RSI as well. And there's less and less resistance here for gold on the way up. So it should have an easier time pushing up, especially if we're getting risk-off conditions, which again is problematic for crypto. Silver also had this triple bottom inverted head and shoulders, also on RSI. And it's back into the previous consolidation. So there's a ton of volume up here for silver, but ultimately, these should just be used as a barometer for risk-off type conditions. And you can argue about silver being risk-off or risk-on, but I don't like seeing metals rising in general. SPX and NDX both are looking weak-ish. Tesla perhaps dragging them all down. The threat of rising rates dragging them all down. No bear divs yet. The 200-day moving average on both is decently far away, but not mega overbought at this point. Are they both due, right, for a 200-day moving average retest? Absolutely. So it wouldn't shock me if things pulled back. I think it was, 2018, where we had this crazy down move. I can't remember if that's when Mnuchin said there's plenty of reserves or something. If it was 2018 or 2019, I can't remember, but we don't need a Christmas Day massacre, please. Let's wait for the end of the year at the very least for crypto. GME continues to look bullish to me. I'm not going to trade this thing, but on technicals, it's telling me I should. It's above the 50, it's above the 200. It's out of its triangular consolidation. It's got this triple bottom quality to it. I know it's GME. I get it. But Technicals look really, really good for 500, basically. AMC, on the other hand, I wouldn't touch this at all. I think there's a bunch of insider selling here, just more and more. They're announcing all sorts of shenanigans, hoping that price rises, I guess, hoping for something to sell into. I don't know. But this looks tired and done to me. I wouldn't bother with that. Even more so than GME. Hood hit with a series of bad news today, or this week. A series of unfortunate events. Hacking stuff, security stuff. The website or the app or whatever was down for a brief period of time. All sorts of bad news for them. Now they're sitting at all-time lows or near all-time lows. Because this is the hourly, this doesn't look bad enough to me to want to jump into this at all-time lows. You're going to want a bull div, ideally multiple days. You're going to want capitulatory volume, which I don't have on here, but you want some signs that this thing is actually mega oversold. Thus far, it's really just been a slow grind to all-time lows. So I think it gets worse before it gets better for them. Maybe they'll list some more crypto stuff in the hopes of drumming up some customer volume. Here's Coin, mega overbought on the 1 hour, at least it was. It had this crazy strong rising wedge, bear div. No surprise that it pulled back a decent amount. Something else that happened this week was Evergrande. Finally was declared bankrupt or finished bankruptcy or something. Markets didn't like that at all. Bunch of down moves on that, even though that was a long time coming. Not really a surprise. Coin still looks okay though, on trend. I mean, it could probably retrace to 300 and still be fine. I'm still holding whatever I have at this point. In coin and silver, just full disclosure, so it is what it is. I'm not really worried about coin. MSTR breached that $800 level and looks good for bullish continuation. So long as crypto remains bullish, MSTR is going to hold that 80% plus correlation. On the 4 hour, it's looking mildly overbought. It's pretty far away from this 200 period moving average, but this is the ultimate distance from the mean, right? The farther you get from the mean, the higher the likelihood of eventual mean reversion, eventual just slow down. This was pretty clear euphoria and madness. And if you have a picture for that, as far as how that happened in the past, you can know what to look for in the future. So is this overbought a little bit? Yeah. Is it February 28, 2021 overbought? No, not even close. So on trend, this thing looks fine. It's above all the volume resistance. Tesla, now, you know, the fibs don't know that Elon's going to say he's going to sell a bunch of stock, right? And the fibs don't know what the price is going to be, doesn't care what the price is going to be. We can say technicals are trash. We can say technicals mean nothing, but it's funny how it lines up sometimes. You can say this is anecdotal too. I don't care. That's fine. Ultimately, though, if you take the high, take the low, you get a 16182 measure move. That's where this thing basically stalled, topped out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I just show stuff like this to create buy-in for fibs. I have plenty of buy-in. I do this stuff all day long. But for the people who maybe don't know what fibs are or don't understand how this stuff lines up most of the time, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you or show you. Watch the previous 2 weeks of these videos, and you'll see this is just where the fibs were targeting the move, right? It's not me calling a level or anything. It's just math, you know? Math plus human emotion predictability. Anyway, so this thing still looks pretty crazy overbought. You can see here's the daily 200 moving average, the daily 50 moving average. You could argue it's due for a 200-day moving average retest, but it's probably unlikely to crumble all the way down there. I'd watch this basically previous all-time high retest around 8888 or something like that, whatever that is. But the euphoria mania looks to be definitely slowed on Tesla this week. Square in a bit of a pickle here. Continues to be held down by this RSI trend, which you do not want to see. If you're bullish, you do not want to see month over month downtrending RSI. Not only that, but it's below the 200 now and setting itself up for a death cross here. If crypto flips more bullish than it is, I guess, Square maybe has a chance. You could probably argue some sort of white coffee and distribution here. I don't know. But this doesn't look bullish to me at all. This looks ready for maybe a 150 retest, at least in the moment. You know, things could change, but this is just ugly to see this RSI downtrend like this. Just no momentum for upside at all at 230 or whatever we are currently. Twitter also in trouble. Death cross, failed inverted head and shoulders at the top. No bull div just yet. You could argue it's starting. 40 to 45 is probably a good zone to find some support. This chart has been extremely volatile since 2018. Very, very noisy. So it's tough to gauge what's real and what isn't on chart patterns, for example, or MA crisscrosses. But undeniably, this thing is probably headed lower. And then the old CME futures contracts, we don't have a rollover this week. We do on the 26th. So we have a bit of a runway to move to the upside, arguably. You can see this May 31st to November 26th contract has been essentially straight up, very similar to some of these others. That's why the arrows are here. This May to October 29th contract basically closed break even. And I expect this November to April contract to be messy because we're in the middle of a yearly rollover at that point in time. So really the next important one to watch is this December 30th, 2019 to December 31st, 2021. We're very likely to actual top for the cycle, which would be an all-time high top around that point in time, partially because of these future rollovers, options rollovers, that sort of thing. Historically on backtesting, that's how it's been. Q2, Q4 have been bullish, Q1, Q3 have been bearish. So that's what I'll be watching for going into 2022. Lastly, let me just mention the ETH BTC fund and DeFi portfolio. I trade for TechMe Capital and Enzyme.finance, a non-custodial portfolio management tool where you can send ETH or USDC or just watch what I'm doing. You can see everything, including AUM performance, allocations, all the vaults I'm in on YearnComp and Aave, as well as the trades and the trades tab down below. That's all for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.